Well, it was an absolute thrill for the 7th Annual Breakfast of Champions in support of the Alberta Sport Development Centre to have the greatest Canadian heavyweight boxer of all time as our guest speaker, George Chuvalo. And George, this was a bit of a fun one for you in that you got to talk about sports. What was the key message you had for those in attendance today?
Well, I think the message always is, if you're going to box or if you're going to be involved in sports, to be as passionate as you can about it. I mean, I think most people get involved in sports and do well, love the sport anyway, so it's not hard to get themselves together and garner passion for the sport. And you know, hard work pays off, and the more enthusiastic you are about a sport, the more you love the sport, the more apt you are to spend time at the sport, in the gym or in the ice rink or doing gymnastic work or whatever your field may be, track or field, or basketball or football or whatever you get involved in. If you love it, you'll do better at it. If you love it, you'll spend more time at it. If you love it, you'll work as hard as you possibly can. And if you're going to get involved, it involves passion, it involves hard work, and it involves discipline. The discipline to work hard, and also the discipline to do without things, to make sure that you don't smoke, drink, do drugs, all those kind of things. Don't carouse, make sure you get enough sleep, make sure you eat properly. And once you're an athlete, you're usually more in tune with what's good for your body, and more in tune with to be nutrition wise. And all those things help a young person become the best they can be in their chosen sport.
Absolutely. Also this morning, George, you touched on part of your legendary career, including the big matches with Muhammad Ali. And it's funny, you talk about the matches with Muhammad Ali, saying, you know, people always ask you what your thoughts on those matches were, and you said, you know, not necessarily a lot of fun being in the ring with him.
Yeah, well, not necessarily being fun with a lot of guys. I mean, no fight is hardly any fights are a lot of fun, because there's so much tension involved, and if you knock a guy out in 27 seconds, there's still a lot of tension, and you know. But of course, the longer the fight goes, and there's more action there is, the more you're liable to get hit, but also there's more chance for you to hit the other guy. And but boxing is a tough sport, it's a dangerous sport, it's a very wearing sport, and you have to be in shape. And the worst thing in the world is to be in the ring and not be prepared properly. The worst thing in the world is to be in a fight and get tired, and the other guy isn't tired. That's the worst situation to be in. So you have to work hard, you have to be sure you're in shape to fight whatever length of time you're scheduled for, whether it's 10, 12, or 15 rounds, you have to be ready. And when you're ready, you're doing yourself a big favor, because if you're not ready, you're in the wrong business.
Absolutely. You touched on it also. Boxing today, especially the heavyweight division, definitely a lot different than the 60s and 70s when you were in your prime.
Well, I think when I was fighting in the golden era, as they call it, the best heavyweights of all time, I think when you think about the fighters that were around, Floyd Patterson, Rocky Marciano, when you think about George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, the guys were all great fighters. Larry Holmes, all of them, they're great fighters, and they threw lots of punches. Their fights were action-packed. But when you see the heavyweight title fights today, they're a far cry from the guys of that era. They're a far cry from the words of action-packed. They're not action-packed. They throw punches like they're on rations. They're not exciting. So how can you get fired up about that? That's one of the reasons why some of the lighter divisions are more popular today, like the welterweight division with Manny Pacquiao and Roger Mayweather. That's an exciting division, far more exciting than the heavyweight division, which doesn't seem to garner any interest before a fight. If you see a fighter coming up with one of the Klitschko brothers, you hardly read anything in the paper about it. I mean, usually you see the results after the fight, and it's only a small little paragraph talking about the fight that took place in the Ukraine or in Germany. The fights need to be held in the United States of America. Some of the bigger fights, you have to have, I think, an American heavyweight champion to have that. To garner that kind of interest in boxing, somebody that you can watch readily here on television. When you have an American champion, yeah, it seems to me that they get a lot more publicity, that there's a lot more hype, there's a lot more interest in a fight. But when the guys fight overseas in the Ukraine or Germany, nobody seems to talk about it. And besides, the Klitschko brothers aren't exciting to watch. They're very intelligent. I met Vitaly Klitschko. He's I think a professor, or has his PhD in physical education. A very smart guy, quite urbane, a very smooth guy, very well educated, nice guy, but he's not exciting to watch. and we crave excitement. You know, boxing fans crave excitement. They want to see an exciting fight. They want to see punches thrown. They want to see guys who walk into a fight and looking to do damage. Guys who walk into a fight and looking to win and to do whatever they can to win a fight. And that means throwing punches, lots of punches. And these guys don't do that, so it's hard to get excited about guys who have almost a kind of a lackadaisical attitude to boxing. When Joe Frazier fought, punch every second, every minute, every round. Same with Mike Tyson, same with Muhammad Ali, same with Sonny Liston, same with Joe Frazier. Those guys came to fight, and you got your money's worth when they fought. When the Klitschko brothers fight, you don't get your money's worth. Simple as that.
Finally, George, you look good, you sound great. You're 73, but by no means are you slowing down. You're still keeping yourself out there. You're getting to see all sorts of people across Canada.
Well, I still have a little steam left, so I think I'm okay.
Fantastic. George Chuvalo, legendary Canadian heavyweight boxer, and our special guest at the 7th Annual Alberta Sport Development Centre Breakfast of Champions.